Hello and greetings from South Jersey. This is Pink Girly. And last weekend, I was one of the team members of the Simple Summer Journal Hop. And the papers that I had prepared for my journal, I had dyed and was inspired to dye them by Lisa My Eclectic Life, who also has a channel by that name on YouTube. And so I thought I would do my version of how I dyed my papers, springboarding off of Lisa. And of course, I was going to look up what her videos are called, and I didn't do that. So I'll put that in the description box. I think she has 2 of them. And what I forgot when I was messing around yesterday with a few sheets of paper, and what I forgot is that she added some water to the colors she was using. And I believe, at least in the one video, she was using coffee and maybe tea, and she was using food color, I believe. And she watered them down a little bit. Now, I didn't water my colors down yesterday, and I didn't dip my paper. I sprayed them with just a spray bottle in case you don't have a tub or a big bowl that you might be able to use. I thought, well, let me just try the spray bottle. So I think we're going to see a difference in my papers versus Lisa's, and then I think the papers that I'm going to work on today versus this stack. So this purple was just sprayed with the water. I crinkled it into a soft ball, and then I took my little pipette. I think that's what these are called. It's like a little eyedropper, disposable. Of course, I rinsed them out. El Cheapo. And then I just scooped up some of my Dilutions crushed spray ink and squirted on top of that crumpled ball. And so this one didn't turn out too bad, but I don't think the paper was soaked enough, so it didn't really move out to other areas of the paper. It's kind of just wherever I shot that ink. This one, I really kind of like this. But there again, I dampened the paper with the water sprayer instead of immersing it into water. I'm going to immerse my paper today. And this, I just used some acrylic paint that I had mixed with some water. And it's loose enough to spray out of a spray bottle. But I used the pipette again. I crumpled it up in the little ball, and I just shot some of this into the little balled up paper. This one I have some Ecoline inks, and I used the blue for this. Now, I should have watered this down. I mean, you got a beautiful color, and I think the color would still be pretty even if I diluted it a little bit. But you can see where, again, it didn't move as well as I think it should have had I watered it down. Same with the yellow. I used the Ecoline yellow ink. I was looking for a particular color, number 318, to use on lips in some watercolor projects that I had. And I was painting a gal's face, and I had to have that red. And so I saw a sale where I got 10 of these, I think, for, a fairly reasonable price. But I should have watered that down again. Although, it looks nice. I just think it could look better. This one I really kind of like, and this I just used some of my Distress ink. This is Vintage Photo, and this is to re-ink your ink pad. And as soon as I got the eyedropper out, I thought, oh, you goof, you should have watered this down a little bit. Although I like the pattern, and I love the way the color turned out. But there again, I think we could have had a little more movement if I had watered it down. I forgot Lisa did that. Same with this orange. This was the Dilution. So this one is certainly loose enough and I think watered down enough. But with the spray bottle dampening my sheet of paper, and this is just copier paper. except it's not, I think normally it's like 20 pound. This is, I think, 24. So it's just a little heavier. But again, it looks cool. I just think it could look better if I had really moistened the paper. And this one to me looks like a crime scene. I used this is the color I was wanting for those lips I was painting. This is Carmen, number 318. And this is really thick. So had I watered that down, I think I would have gotten a better result. So today I'm getting my tub of water. I'm going to immerse my sheets of paper. I wonder there's like leave them sitting there forever. But I have, my neighbor gave me this roasting pan she doesn't use anymore, which is really great for doing this kind of stuff. And I have a couple little containers here that I can water down some. So let me get I have my spray bottle. I hope that reflection's not. And so it's just a pan of plain water. I think Lisa may have put color in her bath, like her coffee or tea water. I'm not sure. I watched them a little while ago. But all I'm going to do is just put my paper in. Just make sure it's all wet. And then I don't want to crumple it too tight. Like I don't want to really mash it. And then I just have the top part of this, or maybe it's the bottom part of this roasting pan here. And I'm just going to sit them in this pan till I get them done. And this is really boring. All the other streamers say, am I boring you? Am I boring you? I was going to do this ahead, and I thought, you know what, let me just record it. And then when the paper dries and I iron my sheets of paper, I'll just do a little video and you can see how it turns out. So I don't need a lot of paper. I don't have any particular project in mind. Now, you know what? You can layer this. Put in 3 or 4 sheets at a time. Let's do that. And I have in the freezer some avocado juice. Oh, look, I tore that. That's okay. That I could probably use and squirt on my paper. But I wasn't ready to do that many sheets of paper today. I'm hoping to just do a little. And there were so many folks at the hop that were interested and liked the paper that I had in my journal. Of course, I don't know if I have a sheet of that laying around. I should have. Oh, there's a sheet. I'll show you that. And this is all I did. I don't know if you can see that. So it did turn out really good. And this I used my dilutions, one of the dilution inks on that. But I'm pretty sure Lisa used food coloring. Now I've got a couple of bigger sheets of paper here, and I do have some coffee stain spatters on the one end. This is paper that sat underneath other coffee dyed paper that I was making. So rather than throw that out, I just thought I'm going to use this up. And I have a couple sheets of graph paper here I want to try. And I'm not sure. I really am kind of really liking that Tim Holtz vintage photo. That's my favorite inking color, ink pad color. So I'm really liking that. So I think I'm going to thin that out a little bit and try a couple sheets. Now I believe Lisa from My Eclectic Life on her one video. I don't know if it was her first one she did. I think it was the first one, maybe. She used either an ink like that or the coffee solution. I think she said her family doesn't like to drink coffee left over. So if they don't drink it fresh and there's some left over, they put it in the fridge for her, and then she can do art stuff with it, if I remember correctly. And I think she did put some of that on some of her paper along with some colors, which was really cool. But I thought, if you don't have food colors, like I have the first batch that I tried, not the blue, but the first batch I tried it, and I didn't record doing the project. My papers turned out really cool, but I didn't have the liquid food coloring. I just have the paste food coloring. So I did put that in water, and my papers turned out really nice. But that was a mess. But if you have that, you can use the paste food coloring, because I did it. You just add some water, stir it with a toothpick, and you can get that to work. But I don't have any of the old-timey little bottles of liquid food coloring. But I thought, if you don't have any of that, or if you don't have any of the inks, like the acrylic inks, but you have acrylic paint, I wanted to see how well that worked, because I think more of us might be more inclined to have some acrylic paint laying around. And I like the way that turned out. I just don't think my paper was damp enough to make the paint move. So we'll see. So this is a sheet of my graph paper. And like I said, I usually make paper for specific projects. And I do have a couple of journals going, but most of those I have my pages laid out already. And I might just only need a few filler things or some additional paper that might look cool to make tags or pockets. Now this one here has a little bit of a coffee stain on it, and that's just fine with me. I'm going to just go ahead and use that up instead of throwing it away or using it for scrap paper. So I'm just going to do maybe one pan, and then I'm going to set the paper outside. See, if it's very warm here today, and I think if I sit it outside, it might dry a little quicker for me. Now, I have not done any cardstock and rumpled any cardstock up. I'm just using, now this graph paper is very thin. This is probably 20 pound or less. It's just that cheap stuff. I was going to try some book paper too. Now, I did try, no, I think that was with my, I tried some book paper. You know how like at the end of a chapter, there might be words down halfway down the page and then the rest of the page is blank. Well, sometimes in those books, it's really nice paper. So I just ripped that in half. I didn't want the lettering. Some of this stuff is pretty heavy that I pulled out here. I think I'm crossing the line here between 24 pound and maybe 32 pound. Let me see if I can find a couple of book pages while I'm experimenting. Now you could really, you know, I don't want it that tight. I want it to be a little looser so I can squirt that ink in there. You'll see. You'll see. All right, this will fill up my tray. When I put this outside, I don't think it's too breezy. I'll lay these out on a little outdoor lawn table, kind of holds a little umbrella. I generally have some sheets of book paper laying around. Let me go over here. I'll be right back. Just gonna grab. As you work on these projects and make these videos, you get started and then you get other ideas. And you don't always grab everything you end up wanting to work with. So, not sure how this is going to react. These are just pages from a chapter book. Sometimes you have to be careful because you never know what words are going to be on them unless you really read the books. All right, so I'm going to just do a couple of these. But sometimes pages like this look good when you're doing a cluster or a tag in a project, or a mixed media page, or a mixed media page in your journal, or you might have an art journal and you want something a little different in the background. Pages like this might look cool. All right, so I'm going to use the Tim Holtz ink and I'm going to water that down. I'm just going to use this water here. And I'm going to mix some up, and somewhere, there it is. I have a little, see if I have a clean one. That's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to put my pan of water. Let's see. I'm going to just set this to my left and hope I don't have that knock over in. So I have this little palette dish. I think my husband may be coming in because I hear the dogs starting to carry on. Now this is all just, by trial and error. And that's really kind of the fun of it, I think, for me, because you don't know what you're going to end up with. So it's kind of, an experiment. All right, so I'm just going to take my eyedropper because this ink has a little eyedropper. And I'm just going to put some of it in here. I can always mix more. Look, I have it all over me already. Didn't even do anything yet. That looks black. I don't know where I picked that up from. It says vintage photo. I do have black, but I didn't pull that out. All right. And I'm going to just take some of this water out of my pan here and add and stir that. Now I could always put a little bit of this, and I might just do that on a little bit of, let me just put it on my, it's still quite dark. See, I could have used a lot less than what I did. So then all you do is you have your damp paper that's crumpled up in little balls. So you're just going to take a little pinch of your color, and I like to have it sitting where I can see some open edges, and you just squirt some color here, there, and everywhere. Just wherever you think it might look good. I guess I'll do 4 of these. And you could do any color combination that you think you might like, or for a particular project that you might have. Now I'm also going to use some of this book paper and put some on this book paper. See how that absorbs. Now normally I would not layer this, but as soon as I'm done, I'm going to take this outside. So for right now, it's not going to sit hours and dry right here. I'm going to sit that like that. And then I'm going to use, this is my mixed acrylic paint and water. I'm going to use some of this. And see if this works better now that my paper is really damp. Like I said, my paper the other day, I wet it down with my spray bottle, not wanting to get the tub out. And I don't think it moved as well as it might. And I want to try the red again because I did not dilute that at all. And this, the red, my red has an eyedropper. Now this is an Amsterdam acrylic ink. So I'm just going to give it a little shake. And it too has, let's see, where's the front of the label? If I can get that to, I took off my autofocus. Well, it's called Amsterdam and it's number 318, which is carmine. And I'm going to put a little bit of that in my tray. And then I'm going to take some, I'm just going to spritz some water from my spray bottle here. Try not to get it all over. And then one of my little pipettes. I'll mix that up a little bit. And add that to my damp paper. Already, you probably can't see it, but when I squirt this on there with that being watered down, boy, it's moving a lot different than it did the other day. See, you forget one little step. Now this looks like it's one that I had some coffee stains on it, so I'm just going to pick up the rest of this. And I'm going to do a combo and use that. Clean out my little pipette. I should look that up. Make sure I'm using the right term. And here's some more book paper. And I'm going to put some of my Dilution crushed grape on those book sheets. I didn't rinse that one out, which I should have. Give that a quick little rinse. Now this I'm not going to, because this is very thin and sprays out. Whoa, it's getting down on my red. Sprays out very easily, and so this is very liquidy. And this might look cool if some of this drips down on that other purple I have underneath. In fact, I might squirt a little down in there. I love me some purple, kids. All right. So I have a few more sheets. Oh yes, I have my craft paper. And you could do like a rainbow kind of thing and do all different. So I've got some of my Dilution Tangerine Dream. In the last year or so, I've really become a fan of orange. Don't know why. Generally, I'm a green and purple gal. And I still do love green and purple. Uh-oh, lost the ring to my bottle. You can't see what I'm doing. I should flip this so you can see what I'm doing. Look at that orange. Oh, I love it. I want to get some of that on my graph paper. And you could use the sprayer, but it's just going to get all over. Spray all over everything. You could probably do it in a controlled way inside of a box. This is how Lisa did hers, and I think it worked out well for her. Paper was beautiful. You got to check out her video. Her paper was really beautiful. I think mine turned out really nice, but hers was superb. And then this yellow, I'm going to water this down because this, again, was the Ecoline acrylic ink. And it wasn't as thick as the Amsterdam or the Ranger replacement ink for your ink pad. But it did not move as well on the paper. And I think some of that had to do with it being a little thicker. And of course, some of it had to do with not having the paper wet enough. Oh, drop her down. I'm just going to put some water in there. And get my dropper, give it a little stir. And I must say, science was never this much fun. You can fuss with this as much as you want. If you've got a certain color theme, or you're doing a journal for a friend who has certain colors that they really like, you could, mix this up, do it whatever way you want. So that's it. I'm going to take these outside. I'm going to sit them out in the sun. Now, I'm not going to let mine dry completely. If you open them up and they're real wet, you are more likely to have your paper tear on you. I think if it's dry, you maybe don't have as much of an issue. I like it to be just not quite dry, because then when I open it up and I use my iron, it kind of creates a little bit of a steam, and they iron really nicely. And I think they turn out well. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's the end of this video. We're just under a half hour, which is perfect. So look for my video to follow up this one so I can show you the paper and how it turns out. Thanks for joining me. If you haven't subbed, please do. I'm really working hard to really make my channel interesting for you. And I could really use some subbies, trying to get up to 1,000 so I can use my community tab, so you can help me out with that. Thumbs up, thumbs down, they're all good. And don't forget, take some time to be creative and enjoy the journey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.